Hey folks, welcome back to Let's Play Wo Long Fallen Dynasty on the Mysterious JG. Man, I've done something wrong with my efforts to get a timer video rolling. There we go. Okay. Perfect. So I think I mentioned, I spoiled for myself a little bit how much we have left of the main, like it's the default non-DLC game. And we're getting close to the end, but this is not the end. But this has to be the end for Lu Bu, just on account of, Lu Bu dies after Whitegate Castle, whatever it's called, gets flooded. And I'm thinking that his death will play differently in this game than it has in any of the other games I've seen. Because none of the other games that I've seen or played have, like, Lu Bu having collected demon power away from Dong Zhuo as the plot. They've also mentioned that Lu Bu has not used demon power yet, as opposed to like rushing to use it to be as powerful as possible immediately, which would be kind of like his Warriors Orochi version of Lu Bu is kind of like, I guess, working for Orochi because Orochi was stronger than he was and he wasn't used to that. But he was always kind of going to defeat Orochi eventually, I guess. Yeah. But anyway, it's us and our closest friend, who's been with us practically from the beginning, Hamdingers, and Hong Jing is also here. Good job, Hamdingers. Oh, this would be so freaking terrifying in a Neo game. I guess Neo 1 I'd be really spooked here, because death has a hell of a sting in Neo 1, and you can't. The only way to mitigate the sting is to get to where you died, like from your last save point to where you died, without dying to recollect your Amrita or whatever. Neo 2 gives you the whole automatically get your spirit animal and Amrita back possibility, which I leaned into heavily to make the game less stressful. Some folks that would ruin the game completely. But yeah, this game, like, there's a penalty for, I guess you still can lose experience and stuff, but I don't know, I don't freak out as much about dying in this game, although it has the same rules. I don't know why I'm less freaked about this, but the big thing is I've mentioned over and over, maybe the reason no one's watching is repetitiveness of the commentary, but over and over I've mentioned just the fact that you get that you can bring AI allies with you to help in combat. Oh, that really makes things a lot more relaxed, because I still am using the same general playstyle, but in like the Neo games, I'm obsessed with, like, okay, creep along and fight enemies one-to-one and never get yourself in a situation where it's you against a horde of enemies, because that's a real good way to get yourself killed in that game. Whereas in this game, it's like, yeah, I mean, if a couple of enemies are around, like, some of them will be fighting your allies, and that's probably okay. So I don't know exactly how we're meant to continue on here. It kind of looks like we could get up on that tree.
The sooner the tide will tell.
Yeah. Yeah, because when you fall into water, you just come back with, like, no hit points. It doesn't kill you. This game really is... I don't know, maybe they got negative feedback. Like, there was just a whole thing. And the knock on this game... I love Red Letter Media. Their now defunct video game thing called this, like, Discount Caviar. Like, saying Neo, rather, was just like a not as good version of Dark Souls. There was a whole thing where genre of games where the whole point was to be like super flippin' difficult. It kind of looks like maybe you could... That's not how we got here, is it? No, we're trying to get, I think, to that pagoda in the middle. The golden pagoda. TJ Truffleberries. Try the Fentoozler. These are all Master Ninja, MST3K Master Ninja references. Yeah, okay, I'm afraid that as a result of just this being the first video of a little mini session, we're going to be doing a bit of wandering, possibly in the wrong direction. It seems like this can't be where we're supposed to go, because the enemies are facing, like, it does really feel like they are staged to find me traveling in the other direction. So maybe that means that this is the way. As all good Mandalorians should know. You also seem to be pointing the wrong way. Well... Hong Jing or somebody just fell to their death. I think one of these enemies was knocked to their death by one of my allies. And there was a little message like, did somebody reach a higher level of, like, affinity with me or something? I'm not sure what... Okay, so, but yeah, but I did... Yeah, there's nowhere to go from here. I feel like I'm missing something where I'm supposed to lower floodgates, but that's, like, the opposite of what happens in this, I guess we could assume now that, like, Lu Bu's army is mostly dead, it's okay to lower floodgates, but... Yeah, the whole point of the tactic was... the waters raised and Lu Bu's army... Like, in Dynasty Warriors' term, his army's morale fell to nothing, and he was... Therefore, a gate that was closed otherwise opened so that you can get to...
The village my brother and I grew up in was caught in the crossfire of World War II. The house was destroyed, our parents killed, and I could cry. He kept pushing me to keep hope. We supported each other and just about managed to stay alive.
Just about managed.
My master found us and took us to Mount Tianzhushan.
Okay, now what happened from there? So I guess we're moving in the right direction because we're prompting plot dialogue from Jiao Chan. And they're still calling Hong Jing, which is interesting. I wonder if that's... I don't know. I wonder if that's another name that Jiao Chan has in certain texts or plays or something. Because she is kind of like... She's beyond being a character in the novel. Like, the novel's version of Jiao Chan is based on, like, an amalgam of various, like, Chinese cultural sources, I guess. Jiao Chan is probably not... Well, it's hard to say, like, that she doesn't exist in history. She's probably an amalgam of, like she's based on some courtesan that Dong Zhuo and Lu Bu argued about. The idea that that's what broke them up is probably not historically accurate. Now it does feel like the enemies are getting weaker. It feels like we're going the wrong way. Maybe we just didn't... Oh, maybe we just didn't hit this spot. Because it did seem like there were more than one path we could use to get... So this might be us having... Like, we're backtracking... We're heading towards the beginning of the level, but we're using a different path, which means we triggered some previously unseen Jiao Chan dialogue. Our oath level with Hamdingers may just increase. I missed a message earlier that I thought might have been that. Our oath level with Hong Jing is maxed out. Our oath level with Hamdingers, I don't think it would have increased twice that quickly.
Before, but it will be cold given the season. Falling in could be fatal, so watch your feet.
You know what? We've actually... Maybe it is rising quickly because maybe these enemies give a lot of experience because we're near the end of the vanilla game. Either way, I'm realizing now that we've got that we can level up. So let's actually backtrack, and we'll have to redo a little bit of this. It's not that big a deal. We'll be all right. I hope you're still with me, folks. I hope this particular backtracking is not what finally breaks you and says, you know what? No, I'm done with this series. I've been watching it up till this point, but now I'm done. I guess I was going to go up to level 35. I'm wondering now, was there a specific wizardry spell I was looking? 30 would be perfect restoral, but we can't get that yet. .40 is Barb Nightmare. I guess I'm just pushing this until I get to level 40. They all do different things, but this is basically HP and amount of spirit lost when attack. So that's good. This is spirit consumed by martial arts, which I don't use as often as I probably should anyway. This is weight limit, and right now I'm using the Cao Cao gear and don't have any plans to switch it, and I have enough weight, you know, capacity that I can use that gear comfortably. This, it'd be one that I could just be grinding out just for the hell of it, like making wizardry spells easier, but and this is, well, I mean, I don't know how far water, I don't know how far the like how much the stealth like how far it matters. Like, at what point does putting more points into stealth have diminishing returns? Because 200 seems like a good, even number. But this is, like, more HP, and there's nothing that gives you better raw attack, and there's nothing that gives you just better raw defense. It's all less direct things than that, except that this one just flat out gives you HP. I guess the thing I should be considering... And I know this is silly. I'm going to put it into wood, and I'm just thinking in terms of long-term strategy. Yeah, I'm using a sword. For right now, I'm using a sword. I might change my mind later. And you know, the spears I was enjoying, the swords are good. And sword, I get most of my attack boost is from wood. So there's no reason not to be doing wood. Unless I switch. I liked metal for the wizardry, but the wizardry is kind of like, it's pretty limited. Like, everything takes for fucking ever. You have a long casting time. I haven't come across anything to suggest that casting times will be reduced. Which means at this point, yeah, I need to just keep putting points into wood. As long as I'm using a sword, that's the thing. 25 might be, like, get everything up to 25 so you have access to all the best spells. And then, like, if you're just going to keep dumping points into a stat, just keep putting them into wood. The only reason to switch would be if I come across gear I want to use, and then I could start putting it into earth, I guess. But I'm not sure that I need to be grinding out level. Like, I did a lot of leveling up in Neo games just to be able to handle the DLC. Who knows? Maybe the DLCs will be really hard. I shouldn't get ahead of myself. I'm going to kill you guys just because you're going to be a pain in my ass while I'm trying to do other things. Good job. Hamdinger's jumped right in that dude's face and just got shot from close range because the guy was shooting at me. Anyway, the tough part about that, the mildly tough part about that little fight to me, it wasn't that tough, but I'm just the fact that once they spot you, you've got multiple guys shooting at you, which, like, I kept blocking a lot and not being aggressive because I was afraid that I would, like, jump across and get shot. I think that actually worked. I know he noticed me because I did the spell to drain hit points, but I also knew I wasn't quite at full health from taking deflect damage, and I think I managed to hit him and get myself back up to full. Just in case I didn't. let's fill ourselves up now. So I aggroed some kind of archer up here, didn't I? Yeah. Hamdinger's one-shotted him. I thought for a minute he almost, but didn't quite one-shot him, but he actually did one-shot him. You use meat to make your fires hot? Why did that guy get poisoned? Do I have, like, auto poison blade? Or is my, maybe I'm nuts. I thought that guy got poisoned. And I'm not sure what that was. I saw a little icon next to his... And I first landed that hit, like I had an initial... that was weird. Like, I ran across, it started to fall, and he hopped back on his own. Alright. Okay, but I'm pretty convinced this is... It did seem weird that the enemies were getting lower morale gauges rather than higher. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that from the battle perspective. Like, these guys maybe were really... They had a bunch of their friends die. And are really sad about it, but... from a game design perspective, this would generally mean we're going in the wrong direction. I do think I did some bit out of order earlier. But we seem to be heading back towards the beginning of the level, but we also seem to be in territory that we haven't hit yet, just based on the fact that I'm occasionally finding loots we didn't pick up, and Hongjing dialogue. So any moment now, we could be coming up to where this... I think that's where it split. I went off to the path on the right. And now I think we're coming back to the beginning of the level that we've already been to. This may, in fact, be the very beginning of the level right here. Oh, no. Here's a new guy. So, once again... These guys have really low morale levels. Puppet saber. Now, big exclamation mark is a save flag that we've already hit, I think? Yeah, this is... I'm almost positive this is the beginning of the level again. Oh, boy, I thought for a minute I just, like, catapulted right for the water. I was like, whoa, JG, what are you doing? Okay, that's not actually a place we can go. Alright, so that's what happened. There was like a little split here, and we took a path over here where there were enemies that were way strong for us at the time, and we kind of muscled our way through, and there's a bunch of like, yeah, a bunch of people die here, because I think, yeah, there's a level 17 enemy. Now we're level 20. It's not a big deal. But when we first came here, I was using, like, every tactic at my disposal to win fights where we were overmatched. Including the fact that we have allies. It was really dependent on the allies. Because allies don't seem to be affected the same way by the morale meter. Or maybe it's just my imagination. Like, it seemed like they were doing normal damage, and I was doing drastically reduced damage because I was morale level 1. And these enemies are up on like 15, 16, etc. Yeah. Like, I'm letting my allies do the work here, in part because... Also, it's handy that these are ranged guys and that they were focused on me, so... Hongjing can go up, even though she's basically supposed to be a spellcaster. She just goes up to them and starts beating the shit out of them. That... Yeah, they, like, two guys both getting, like, flashing red move, whatever they're called, happy. I did get hit by one, but I managed to come out of it okay, I guess? Gloves of Staunchness. That's probably part of some kind of set. So this may be the point at which I went in whatever direction I went in and then lost track of what the other possibilities were. Because we seem to be at a bit of a junction. Yeah, getting the I suck life out of you when I hit you, and then getting the like massive critical hit numbers that you get from sneak attack from behind does seem like a good thing to be doing. I feel like that's heading towards where we were before. So this may be the path to what we haven't already done. Oh, please tell me this wasn't a terrible mistake to drop down here. Okay, there is a way back up because this is the way that they came to, like, what the hell did you do that for? And then, yeah, get back up to where I was. All right. Soliton Ladar will help me find some treasures, not all. Like, if there's something hidden... Ah, there is... Because that could turn out to be, like, a permanent increase to healing or whatever. Cup of Cordiality. I do need to start using those. They're just, like I'm stockpiling them and they don't do anything for me that way. I don't know of a good way to just farm more, so I don't want to just start using them like candy, but they're the item that boosts your affinity with people. Like, honestly, they're best used, in my mind, they're best used with characters where you want to unlock all the gear, but you don't actually want to use that character. So characters whose benefits they give you when they're present, like Hong Jing gives you better wizardry, power, something or other. Like the benefits, the characters who give you benefits that you don't care about, use Cup of Cordiality so you can get their gear. Oh, fuck. Must avenge somebody. This guy's part of a super elite army, and there's a new by super elite army I mean some dude. Damn you. I really wanted to sneak up behind him and decrease the level of this guy. I feel like it's not going to matter. He's only level 12. Somehow, without particularly setting out to do so, I seem to have grinded for morale here. So that guy that just died on his own, or I guess Hong Jing quick eliminated him, but like a wave of I don't want to live anymore because guy who was part of my same unit has died, hit him and he died. Getting pretty close to maxed out morale here. What's going on over there? Is that an enemy? That she found an enemy and just murdered him, and I only even noticed because of a little coloration on the mini map. I'm becoming conscientious of the fact that we've got almost half of the big time marker flag save points, which are kind of tough to miss, but we've barely found any of the the little flags that are kind of more collectible and easier to miss. And so I glanced at my Sawton later and was like, is that a little red block? Nope, there's Yao Zhan murdering somebody. Damn. Oh, no, that's fine. Azure Dragon Crescent Glaive. That sounds like Guan Yu's Wappet. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Part of what's troubling me about this is that if I have to go to a video to watch, like I won't be able to. I'll have to sit there and watch the fucking thing. Sorry, pardon my French, and like retrace their steps on screen. Like get a state where we've killed all the enemies, but follow them from the beginning because it's everything about this particular level is so samey in appearance. I'm not going to be able to skip around and be like, oh, I recognize that place. It's going to be like, oh, that's the place that there was like frosted wood. Of course, I recognize that place. Like, oh, that's the rooftop over water. I recognize that. Like, no, everything looks exactly the same. Although I guess we'll get a little bit of change once... Oh, here's a thing that we can kick down. There we go. We created a shortcut in a level where I've had very little trouble moving around at will so far. Okay, that's a wall.
This is odd. What kind of statue was this?
Buddha? I would expect she would know. I think her robes indicate she's a Taoist. There's not that much discussion of religion in Romance of Three Kingdoms, but to the extent that religion is mentioned, it's usually like Zhuge Liang, Pang Tong, a couple of other characters were specifically supposed to be Taoist, like mystics, like strange kind of mystics whose understanding of like whose understanding of like this, you know, the movement of the celestial bodies gave them special knowledge and whatever. Yeah, they would be specifically Taoist, and I guess everyone else was assumed to be Buddhist. I mean, I knew from the notes of the translation I read, I knew that there were certain things, like aspects of Buddhist iconography present. Like, Liu Bei was described as having really long earlobes, which is a symbol of, you know, in Buddhist iconography would make, you know, be an indicator that he was a good and pure person. But they don't talk about Buddhism actively, except occasionally. You know, religion is only mentioned when, I guess we're meant to assume by default people are Buddhists if it's not said. But yeah, they talk about Taoists, and occasionally they just have like just nondescript weird mystics like the Five Pecks of Rice sect, who are apparently pretty weird and interesting, like got like weird tantric sex stuff, or no, they're the opposite. They're like the Five Pecks of Rice. Like I read about them once for like in real history. Like they're odd. I guess they're still around in some respect. I can't remember the name of the ruler. This comes up in RTK playthroughs rather than Dynasty Warriors because Hanzhong can be a major city, but it's ruled by a specific guy who's just like the leader of this weird sect that doesn't recognize the emperor, and they like, you know, they have like weird sex practice where it's like men are not supposed to, you know, relieve themselves of sexual tension, let's say, because that's releasing spiritual energy or whatever. I don't know why I'm talking about this other than to say, if there's going to be something going on now where this is a weird statue and there's some kind of like weird demonic cult stuff going on, that would be a new take. Because again, the novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms doesn't talk about religion much, except occasionally mentioning, you know, I guess the Zhang brothers, Zhang Xiao and his brothers, the Yellow Turbans, they were like a weird mystic cult. But yeah, like now that I think about it, bad guys who are mystics are just said to be strange mystics. like Zhang Jiao finds the Book of the Millennium, which I don't think is ascribed to any specific religion. It's just this weird thing. And there's a tendency for mystics to appear and transform into cranes and fly away. And I really don't know enough about Taoism to know if that's Taoism or if that's just weirdness. But Zhuge Liang and Pang Tong are specifically supposed to be Taoists. And that gets into stuff like they understand from the constellations, they are able to like predict the future and shit. Like Zhuge Liang's casting a spell to control the direction of the wind at the Battle of Cherby is tied into Taoism. So maybe religion is about to become important here, or maybe I'm making way too much of just a little tiny line that Hong Jing has. Either way, we will come back next time with more of this. See you then.